Hey my friends, welcome to this cozy corner of the internet. Grab a warm cup of coffee or maybe a comforting oat milk latte. Let us just sit down and have a real talk about what is happening out there, because I know you might be scrolling through social media right now and seeing all these headlines about big tech companies letting thousands of brilliant people go. It feels a little bit scary and honestly a little bit dystopian when someone who exceeded expectations for 4 years straight can just find their corporate access cut off in a single morning. It makes you question what stability even means anymore. But I want you to take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and realize that this is exactly why we talk about intentional money management. This is not about getting rich overnight or playing some stressful numbers game. This is about giving yourself the quiet choice to say I am safe and I can breathe freely no matter what some CEO decides in a boardroom thousands of miles away. When we see these corporate shakeups, it is easy to fall into a spiral of anxiety. But we can choose to look at it as a gentle wake-up call from the universe. It reminds us that a job is just an exchange of your precious time for currency. It is never your entire identity or your ultimate security. True security is something you build for yourself slowly and patiently, like planting a beautiful garden in your backyard. When you have your own financial cushion, it does not matter if a company decides to reduce its headcount by 22%. You will not be left panicking because you built a foundation that belongs entirely to you. Think of your emergency fund not as a boring pile of cash sitting in a bank account, but as a beautiful shield of peace. It is the money that buys you time. It is the money that allows you to look at this sudden change and say, honestly, I am okay. Just like that creator who felt happy and free because she knew she was ready for the next chapter. That kind of confidence does not come from a corporate title. It comes from knowing you have taken care of your own business behind the scenes. A lot of people think they need to understand complex financial jargon or buy into complicated schemes to be safe. But the financial system loves to make things look confusing, so you feel like you need their expensive help. The truth is that the best strategy is beautiful and simple. It is about keeping your expenses gentle, saving a little piece of what you earn, and putting it into simple things that grow over time without requiring you to stare at a screen all day. We do not need to spend our lives in endless meetings driving towards corporate outcomes. If our real goal is just to live a peaceful life, when you automate your savings and invest in a broad basket of the world economy, you are putting silent, invisible workers to work for you. They do not take days off. They do not get laid off, and they slowly compound your freedom every single day. It is like watching a tree grow where you do not see the movement every minute. But one day you look up and you have this massive canopy of shade protecting you from the heat. That is what compound interest feels like when you leave it alone and practice true patience. It is a very soft and steady way to reclaim your power from institutions that view human beings as numbers on a spreadsheet. I want you to look at your current income source as a temporary tool. Use it to fund your freedom. Use it to buy your peace. Do not pour every ounce of your soul into a system that does not have a soul. Instead, take care of your work duties professionally, but keep your dreams and your financial growth close to your heart. You deserve to have a life where a sudden email about a reorganization does not ruin your mental health. You deserve to know that you have enough to pivot whenever you want, whether that means starting an AI fashion brand or just taking 6 months off to sit in a park and read books. Money is just energy, and when you manage it with love and intention, it transforms from a source of stress into a soft cushion for your life. So let us focus on what we can control today. We can control how much we appreciate our current moments. We can control how much we tuck away for our future selves, and we can control our perspective on what true success looks like. Success is not a fancy desk or a tech badge. Success is waking up on a Tuesday morning and knowing that your world is completely secure because you took care of it. Let us talk about how we can practically build this sense of safety without overcomplicating things or stressing ourselves out. Because when you look at the news, it always sounds like you need to be an expert trading stocks every single hour. But real-life wealth is built when you actually stop doing too much. Think of your money like a house that you are building brick by brick. You do not need to rush the process. You just need to make sure each brick is solid and placed with intention. When we see people talking about product managers and engineers and all these corporate structures, it reminds us how fragile these giant systems actually are. They have endless meetings and they talk about driving towards business outcomes. But at the end of the day, those outcomes belong to the shareholders and not to the people doing the hard work. When you realize this truth, it frees you from the emotional burden of trying to please a corporate machine that cannot love you back. You start to see that your salary is simply raw material. It is the raw material that you use to manufacture your own freedom. Every single dollar you save and invest is like a little worker that you have hired to work for your future self. These little financial workers are incredibly loyal. They do not care about corporate politics. They do not care about human resources teams. They do not care about whether you wear formal clothes or comfortable hoodies to work. They just sit there quietly in the background and multiply while you sleep. That is the true magic of keeping things simple. We often feel like we need to buy the newest things or keep up with the lifestyle of people around us, especially when we work in high-paying industries or live in expensive cities. But true wealth is not what you spend. True wealth is what you keep. True wealth is the flexibility to walk away from a toxic environment without worrying about how you will pay rent next month. When you cultivate a mindset of abundance based on simplicity, you realize you do not need a lot of material things to be incredibly happy. You just need your freedom, your health, and your peace of mind. Let us think about how we can start making small shifts today to protect ourselves from these unpredictable economic cycles. The first step is always to look at our fixed costs with absolute honesty. We want to keep our fixed costs light and gentle so that our baseline for survival is very easy to meet. When your baseline is low, your stress levels naturally drop because you know you do not need a massive corporate salary just to survive. This gives you the ultimate leverage in your career because you can choose jobs based on joy and alignment rather than pure desperation. You can say yes to projects that ignite your passion and no to environments that drain your beautiful energy. The second step is to create an investment routine that is so automated you completely forget about it. You just set it up to transfer a small portion of your income into broad market index funds every single month. You do not try to time the market. You do not try to guess which stock will go up or down. You just trust the long-term growth of human innovation. It is just like planting a seed in the ground and letting nature do its work over years and decades. You do not dig up the seed every day to check if it is growing. You just give it water and time. This approach removes all the emotional anxiety that usually comes with investing. It turns money management from a stressful gambling game into a beautiful habit of self-care. When you see other people panicking on social media about market drops or corporate layoffs, you can just sit back and sip your tea because, your strategy does not rely on short-term fluctuations. You are playing a much longer and more peaceful game. You are building a life that is completely decoupled from the chaotic news cycle. Let us also talk about the emotional side of money, because anxiety is a very real thing that many of us carry every day. We often carry beliefs about scarcity that we learned when we were younger. We think that if we stop working hard for 1 second, everything will fall apart. But these tech layoffs show us that hard work alone is not a shield against corporate decisions. You can exceed expectations for 4 years and still get a generic email saying your role has been eliminated. So instead of pouring all your security into your performance review, pour that energy into your personal balance sheet. Treat yourself like the true CEO of your own life. Your job is just one client that pays your life enterprise. If that client leaves, you will find another one because your skills and your value belong to you and not to them. When you shift your perspective this way, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like the author of your own story. You can look at your career as a beautiful adventure with many different chapters rather than a single rigid path. If one door closes, it is simply an invitation to explore a new path that might be even more fulfilling and beautiful. We see so many creators finding immense joy after being laid off because it finally forced them to step outside their comfort zone and build their own dreams. They realized that the corporate golden cages were actually keeping them from discovering their true potential. So if you are feeling anxious about the future, today I want you to remember that you are incredibly resilient. You have survived difficult times before, and you have all the tools you need to navigate whatever comes next. Money is a wonderful tool that can support you on this journey, but it is not something to be feared or obsessed over. Keep your strategy simple, keep your heart full of hope, and keep focusing on the beautiful things that bring you true joy every single day. Let us take care of each other and remind ourselves that our worth is never defined by a job title or a corporate salary. We are human beings worthy of love and peace. Just as we are, thank you for sharing this quiet space with me today. Remember to be incredibly gentle with your thoughts, and I will see you in our next cozy chat. Let us think about how we can expand our understanding of what it means to be truly wealthy, because society often tells us that wealth is about luxury cars and fancy houses. But when you sit down quietly and listen to your heart, you realize that true wealth is actually measured in time. It is measured in the number of mornings you can wake up without an alarm clock. It is measured in the ability to spend a whole afternoon walking in nature without feeling guilty about missed emails. It is measured in the freedom to say what you truly think without fearing for your livelihood. When you start valuing time over status, your entire relationship with money changes completely. You stop seeing savings as a sacrifice and start seeing it as an act of liberation. Every dollar you do not spend on something you do not really need is a piece of your future freedom that you are buying back. It is like purchasing your own independence day by day. Let us look at the financial industry with clear eyes because they always want to sell us complex products that promise high returns. They use confusing terms and create an illusion of exclusivity to make us feel like we cannot manage our own money. But the secret they do not want you to know is that the most successful investing strategy is also the most boring one. It requires no special talent, no insider information, and no constant monitoring. It just requires the discipline to buy and hold high-quality assets for a long period of time. It is about being a quiet owner of the global economy rather than a frantic trader trying to beat the system. When you adopt this approach, you free up so much mental energy that you can use to enjoy your actual life. You can focus on your hobbies, your relationships, and your personal growth instead of staring at stock charts all day. That is what I call true financial peace. It is a state where money is working for you so well that you rarely have to think about it at all. Let us also acknowledge how hard it can be to stay grounded when everyone around you seems to be chasing corporate ladders and material success. It takes a lot of courage to choose a simpler and more intentional path, but when you look at the volatility in the tech world today, you see that the conventional path of corporate climbing is not as safe as it looks. It comes with a high cost to your mental health and no guarantee of long-term security. By choosing to focus on financial independence and simplicity, you are actually building a much more robust and stable life. You are creating a shield that protects you from the whims of corporate managers and economic shifts. You are taking full ownership of your future, and that is an incredibly empowering thing to do. I want you to know that it is perfectly okay to want a soft life. It is okay to not want to hustle every single minute of your day. It is okay to prioritize your peace over profit. Your life is a beautiful canvas, and you get to decide what colors you want to paint it with. Do not let corporate culture dictate your values or your self-worth. You are far more valuable than any business outcome they could ever calculate. Let us continue to support each other on this journey toward a more peaceful and intentional relationship with money. We can share our experiences, learn from each other, and build a community based on kindness and mutual support. Thank you for being a part of this quiet conversation today. Take care of your beautiful soul, stay grounded, and remember that you have the power to create a safe and peaceful life for yourself. See you next time. Let us take a moment to appreciate the small things that bring us comfort when the world feels unpredictable. A warm blanket, a good conversation, the sound of rain outside. These are the things that truly enrich our lives, and they do not cost a thing. When we anchor our happiness in these simple pleasures, we become truly invincible because no layoff or economic downturn can take them away from us. Our financial journey is just a way to protect these precious moments of peace and give us the space to enjoy them fully. So as you go about your day today, carry this feeling of gentle confidence with you. Know that you are doing just fine and that every step you take toward financial simplicity is a step toward a brighter and more peaceful future. Thank you for listening. See you soon.